All right. So this is the live stream. First time doing it. So we had, now we can get it to work, but it did not work the last time. So
Let's see if this thing actually works. Give me a second. I'm checking.
looks good to me.
I'm checking on. Yeah, perfect. Okay, sweet. All right. So do you want to start? Or do you want me to start?
Well, I'll just do an introduction.
Yeah.
We want to
Sure.
talk about astrology, numerology, decoding human design, and it's just some really interesting things, and we never really got the chance to express it outwardly. So
All right. So my name's John Lyons. I've known Steve since high school, and yeah, we've been best buds since. He graciously allowed me on this live, and I really enjoy it. So here's the thing. I want to be when I last year I made a crazy decision. I decided that I wanted to move on to the East Coast. I got born in Chicago, moved to Madison, Wisconsin, and now I'm in Boston. I'm in Amesbury, right on the border of New Hampshire and Massachusetts. Great place, beautiful area. So that got me thinking. What if astrology? If you move to a different place, like if someone moves to Germany, if someone moves to I don't know, like Venezuela or China, obviously you are become a different person, so to speak. And so I decided when I was using astrology, there were two types. There was the astrocartography, and then there was also the regular one as well. There was the ascendant base too. And so, for those who aren't aware, you have to understand something. People ask, well, what's a sun sign versus ascendant versus the moon? I'll explain it to you. A sun sign is basically who you are. That's just your personality. Obviously, there's many other aspects. So just because you're a Gemini doesn't mean you're two-faced. Because you're a Leo doesn't mean you're prideful. It can mean it. Use discernment, so to speak. But it's more of like a compass for who you are. Your ascendant is how you are perceived by others, so to speak. Okay,
I
so
can see
that
that.
means that if my ascendant is in Capricorn when I'm in the middle and when I'm in the Midwest, Capricorn is very structured, very rules, disciplined, and stuff like that. And it's also in the 12th house, which is Pisces. So the houses, if people want me to, I can also just
No, I
make.
want to share my input on that.
Sure.
So for me, I'm a Cancer in Western, but you have to look at Vedic too, because Vedic and Western are different. 24 degrees backwards is Vedic. So everything, imagine you're a 0 degree Cancer in Western. You're going to be a 6 degree Gemini in Vedic. So if I move to the East, in the East Coast, where I'm at in Chicago now, it'll be at least 30 degrees forward. So I would be a Leo. So it would be conjunct my sun. So pretty much what he's saying is, the energy of your life changes based off where you are, and it can have an impact. Um, Someone who's really hardworking in one area can be lazy in somewhere else, or
Exactly.
do the opposite. But it's good to know the foundations of what everything means in astrology before because this is like more open-minded, open-ended. So I kind of wanted to talk about like the very simple things that you should know when it comes to astrology, and it's just interesting.
Absolutely. So do you want me to share? I'm going to do this. I'm going to share my birth chart with everyone. Just because, again, low audience, I'm going to try to just show it to make everybody work. So I'm going to use a free software tool. And let me know, Steve, on YouTube, whether or not I can be seen or not. But I'm going to share my screen. Give me a second. Okay. So I'm going to bring this up right now. Can you see let me know on the screen on YouTube if you see share my screen, all right?
We'll see if it lets you do that.
Okay, good. Okay, so I'm gonna first do my original natal chart, and I'm gonna basically and then we're gonna go with the thing before. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's gonna let
If
you
anyone,
do
I want to ask Steve. Steve, are you familiar with Sabian symbols as well too?
I don't look into that as much. I mean, if you
Oh,
want to
you should
explain
do
it
that.
quickly.
You should totally do that. That's amazing. In fact, I'm gonna do a bit of Sabian symbol as well too to help people understand things. All right. So let me get this now.
Okay.
November 26th. My birthday is November 26th, 1996. So this is a little thing for you, right? I want to show you a bit of Sabian symbol too, Steve, because that's a huge thing you have to talk about too. You're gonna be blown away. This blows me away too.
Oh, wait.
So
I think I can do
it. What?
I shared that chart on the screen now. So now they can see it.
What, my chart?
Yeah, your chart. So I shared this chart on the screen.
At least from what okay. So okay, so what is I don't see it. I see the StreamYard, Steve. You're kind of showing the StreamYard. Oh, you're seeing me. Great. Yeah. Can you let me quickly put this for a second? Hold on. Let me stop sharing my screen. Give me a second. How do I there I got it. Sorry. Okay, now I got it. Okay, I don't see your screen. Share your screen, Steve.
If you can't share it, if it doesn't for whatever reason now, I don't know if it's loading. You can just explain it in words too.
Okay. No. I'm gonna bring this up. So I'm gonna bring it now. It's fine. Okay. So I want to show you guys the Sabian symbol too, because that's also a huge thing as well too. Whenever you move as well. Okay. So right now, I'm gonna put my birth chart in, and I'll get this right here. Okay. So Sabian symbols are Western. They're for the exact degree, and they explain how someone else's. For instance, my son, I was born on the 26th of November, and so that would be what? What would that be as a degree, Steve? Do you know?
A degree for, are you talking about a sun sign or what?
Yeah. How about this? Sagittarius days.
About 4 degrees Sagittarius.
That's what I thought too. I just want to make sure. Okay, so there's this thing called Sabian symbols, and Sabian symbols basically do more description about the degree. I'll give you an example. So right now, this is Sagittarius symbol 4. A little child learning to walk with the encouragement of his parents. Isn't that crazy?
So yeah. That would be, I'm looking, that's interesting. I never even looked at it before.
Yeah, but no, I want to do it on your son. I want to do what you agree for your son as well too. Yeah, so that makes sense because for me personally, I've always been viewed as like a child. Like I keep again, my life, I've been kind of like doing a lot of stuff. I don't know how to be an adult, and I have so much Sagittarius in my chart. It's ridiculous. I'll explain to you in a second. Steve, what is your do you know what your sign is for Leo?
No.
What sun?
It's 17 degrees Leo. For Western.
Okay, Leo Sabian symbols. Okay, let's try this out. You said 17, right?
Yep, 17 Leo.
Okay. In Western, it says a volunteer church choir singing religious hymns.
Yeah. It's vocal, huh? Yeah.
A volunteer, meaning you're not part of the group, but you're kind of on your own, and you're basically kind of the background. Interesting.
Yeah, maybe that is interesting. Another thing I want to share kind of is some of this nakshatras, because
yes, we're gonna get into nakshatras. I just wanted to say that. So if you ever, if again, it doesn't have to resonate. If it doesn't resonate, it doesn't. But I found that mine definitely did. Okay, so now we're gonna wrap this up. Really quick look at my chart. So just to help everybody out, then I'm gonna do my relocation chart, and we can tie it into Vedic as well too. So if you look at my chart right here, I have a lot of stuff, okay? I have my sun in Sagittarius. My Pluto is pretty much over my sun. Now, generally speaking, when things are within a 5 to 10 degree, that's where things get activated. That's when you have trines, conjunctions, sextiles, squares, when they're within 4 to 6 degrees. If your sun's 1 degree of Sagittarius, and you have another planet, and like, again, Mercury right here, it's not really technically conjuncting my sun. It's just kind of in the background. That's just how it is, okay? So things are more karmic, or things appear to be real when that happens. So anyway, now, the thing is that right now, when I'm in Chicago, I have Saturn in Capricorn, Uranus, Neptune in Capricorn. I have a lot of Capricorn in my chart, okay? My ascendant is in 20 degrees Capricorn. If I scroll down a bit too, let me look at this. Let me get where's so when it's at 20 degrees of Capricorn, it's in the 12th house. That's pretty much where it's at right here. It's just in the 12th house. And what is the 12th house rule? Wait, no.
No, it's surrender.
Exactly.
It's
Exactly.
releasing, letting go.
So when I'm I'm kind of in the background. And so that's why when I'm not kind of out there. I mean, it's on the cusp too. So it's
You know,
really it could be in the first house too. So
let
I'm
me say
kind of more
something.
like
No, I just want to say that when I'm here, it's like I'm a Cancer, so I'm all the way in the background too. It's like you notice how a lot of the times I'm quiet, like other people kind of overtake my spotlight. It's because the Cancer will represent you're not doing anything. You're just nurturing and healing. You're not getting out there. You're introverted. If I was
yes.
to go out to Boston or New York or something, I would be very extroverted probably because that would be my ascendant would move to Leo where my sun is, and the Leo is very extrovert.
Well, let's try it
It's
out
just
right
a
now.
relocation.
Let's try it out right now. Let's actually look up the natal chart. See, we'll do the relocation chart right now. So why don't you
That.
tell me everything, and we'll compare the two just to make it good. And not even that. I want you to go even bigger, expansive. Like say, okay, well we'll do one for the East Coast, and then we'll do one in like Europe, or maybe one in Asia, and see what kind of person you are.
Europe would be like 6. It would be way different. I feel like
Yeah, I
that's
don't know.
all the
I
way
don't know
over
the
there.
exact measurements. I don't know the grid of everything.
Let's just do. How about you do Boston for me?
Okay, what's your birthday again?
Oh, it's August 10th of 97, 1997.
Give me a second. August 10th, 1997. And what's your time?
And it's 3:27 a.m. So
3:27. Yep, got it.
wouldn't it be at 4:27 that time?
No, it doesn't matter. It's what it's on the
Oh,
birth chart. Although I mean, I would be like at like 10 a.m. in Japan. Like it's weird. You're born in Chicago, right?
oh shit. Yeah,
You were
it'll be
born in Chicago.
Chicago there.
Yeah, that's a thought. Okay, so looking at your chart right here, you're born at August 10th, 1997. You have a lot of Virgo. Jesus, you have Mercury, Lilith, your North Node.
Wait. Well, I got to interrupt you for a second because 3:27 a.m. in Chicago was 4:27 in Boston. Are you sure?
It doesn't matter, Steve. It's on the birth chart. Whatever's on the birth record doesn't matter if it's
Oh,
central. Does not matter. It's all about what's on the birth record. My
okay.
daughter was born at 3:21, 3 in the morning, and I'm using that even though it's 2 in the morning. No, it doesn't. It's what on the birth chart. Birth record, right?
All right.
Okay. So you have your ascendant in Cancer, like you said, 17. In fact, why don't we look this up? I want to look this up because this will make
sure
you better.
about that? Because that's that. I mean, think about it. You have to change it an hour. Do an hour edit because
No,
that would
Steve,
make.
no, you don't. No, it's where you are when you're
It's going to
born.
stay as Cancer. My ascendant's staying at Cancer then.
Yeah, I know it is. And I'm
But I'm
looking up
saying I
your
would be
Sabian.
okay. Okay. That
Yeah,
wouldn't
yeah.
really change it.
Just don't take in time zones. It's whatever the time you were born at. That's where you're born at. So you're at Sabian symbol 17. Ready? So oh wow, listen to this. So your ascendant is the unfoldment of multi-level potentialities issuing from a original germ.
I hear you.
The life urge to actualize one's birth potential. That's interesting. Actually, think about it.
Look, John. All I'm saying is the point of this whole thing was to show that it moves one sign ahead if you're born in the East Coast. That's the whole point.
Yes. So I'm gonna do this right now.
I'm just asking you to just put down 4:27 a.m. because that would change it of 1 degree.
No. You were born at your birth time. See, that's what we're in Central Time. Oh wait, you're telling me I put it in wrong.
Yes.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I made a mistake. I apologize. I thought you were going. Okay, my bad. Okay. So it'd be what, 2 a.m. then?
What I'm saying is 4:27 a.m. for Boston's time because it just defeats the purpose. It defeats the purpose to do a relocation chart if it stays the exact same degree for the ascendant. That's all.
It changes. It changes. Just trust me on this. I know. I leave it at 3:27. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But you always want to have this. That's the time it is in Chicago, and that's the time you were born in Chicago. So now we're gonna do the relocation charts to help you out. Okay, we're gonna do it now.
That's what I'm. Okay, I'm a little confused.
Okay, good. No, I'm doing your birth time in Chicago on August 10th, 1997 at 3:27 a.m.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing. Okay, good. Now, this is a relocation chart. So I'm going to do it right now and plug it in, and you're going to see a major results. And then I want to do and then I want to use the astrocartography thing. And then I want to share that too. And then we'll be fine. I want to do those because the astrocartography is actually way more insightful too as well. So 3:27 a.m. This is what I was talking about, Steve. Look, see, you were born in Chicago at 3:27 a.m. And let's just say 2 years from now, I want to go to Boston. I want to get some, clam chowder or whatever. So this is what it would look like. Yeah. Okay. So things kind of change. Your ascendant is at Leo. So this is how it is, Steve, on the right. So
what is at Leo?
Your sun's the same. Your moon's the same. Mercury. Nothing really changes except really. Yeah. Your moon becomes
the ascendant is there at Leo.
Yeah, 1 degree of Leo.
And it's conjunct my sun. That's what I meant to say.
Yes. So the way that you are, Steve, I honestly think, Steve, that if you really wanted to have a lot of success, let's actually ask this up. So let's ask ChatGPT actually. I want to see what ChatGPT says about this. So if an ascendant conjuncts one's sun, let's see what it says. That means that the way let's see, because I'm genuinely curious.
Okay, let's give this a few more minutes because I want to get into next chapters too.
Fine. Okay, so your ascendant is at 1 degree of Leo, which means it's basically borderline you're basically right on the cusp of the 12th and the first house. So when you would definitely be a lot more upfront with people, Steve, you would be definitely shown more publicly. People would definitely see you and recognize you, and you'd probably be a lot more fiery to people. In Chicago, let me go back right here. Your ascendant is more in Cancer right here. See the ascendant sign? It's more hidden into Cancer. But when you get to Leo, it's still in the first house. But, you're kind of more like, you're more...
Well, I'm saying, when I'm here, the whole point I'm trying to say is I'm more reserved it's very Cancer-like. I'm just around the house, not doing a lot. But when you move somewhere, it changes the energy quite a bit.
Absolutely. In fact, my ascendant would go to Aquarius. So I think, Steve, if you were out here, we would be opposed.
I'd be like a roaring lion, waiting to express myself if I moved out east, because there are times where your voice will get suppressed if you have so much Cancer. Yeah. I'm just kind of curious because I lived in Nebraska. You don't have to do it. It's just that would change it too.
Well, let's just see. Then we can move on. After this, we'll move on. Let's try it, actually. Let's actually see what you were like during that time. Let's actually look at it. Because now you're actually...
by the way, I want to say I apologize for it was like a miscommunication because I thought that I had to put my birth time differently. So the way that you're doing it, you know what you're doing.
You're fine. Is it Nebraska City or is it just Nebraska?
Omaha, Nebraska.
Omaha, Nebraska. Okay. So this will be very interesting. You're probably Cancer. I would say you're probably a lot stronger Cancer, most likely. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, you're basically at 10 degree of Cancer. Now, again, the Sabian symbol for 10 degree of Cancer. I want to see this. Oh, give me a second. Hey, I'm doing a live with Steve. I'll call you later. Okay. All right, so the Sabian symbol is when you were at Creighton, Steve, you were a different person than you were in Chicago. So let's look this up. So at 6, 7, 8, 9, okay, you were a large diamond in the first stages of the cutting process. Yeah, that makes sense. If you think about it, Steve, a large diamond in the first stages of the cutting process. That was when you had your spiritual awakening.
Pretty much, yeah. That was it. It was more of that reflection. Like Cancer is more reflective.
Yeah, exactly. And so a large diamond means it's the arduous training for perfection in order to fully manifest an ideal. That was, again, I remember with Creighton, that's when you started to go, you had a lot of visions, you went off on spirituality, and you started to like. That's when you really
I
started to
spent a
get
lot of
interested.
time within there was like a big garden. I spent a lot of time around
Yeah.
trees, walking
Yep.
around in nature. I didn't
So
want to
that,
go out and party. I didn't want to go out and party and do a lot of, just have fun all the time. I wanted to just meditate and go out into the gardens. Went on a lot of nature walks. So, I
that's
mean,
really interesting. So yeah, a large diamond in the first stage is the cutting process. So like you said, like a large diamond meaning your spirituality. That's when you first started to really open up, and every time you're in Creighton, that reflected be above it. That's really wild.
I want to say about the nakshatras now because
Yes. So
everywhere.
I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. Okay, I'm gonna stop and I'm
Yeah.
gonna hand it over to you, Steve. If you want to share anything, I would recommend if you have any pictures or stuff, have that too. But take it
Well,
away.
yeah, it's mostly the nakshatras, but I just want to, you know, every. I just want to say the thing about the nakshatras is there are 27 of them because if you look at the basic Western astrology, you have 12 signs, and like I said, in Vedic, it's everything's 24 degrees backwards. It's just a different perspective. So everything starts off, and I'm going to try to share the screen first, but let
Yeah,
me.
if you could bring up a chart of like Vedic of the
I
signs, just so
I
people can
got it
have a
all
better.
right here.
Yeah,
Now I just got to share the screen. I don't do this that much, so I'm trying to figure out how to share it for.
you're fine. Go on to StreamYard. Yeah, then go and click on the button.
Yeah, but are you sure? Like, do you know what button it is? Because I'm even trying to find it now.
I'll share my screen. I'll show you. If you click on the StreamYard button with the red recording over it, Steve,
Okay.
at the bottom of the page, you see mute, stop cam, settings, and then present.
Oh,
It looks like a TV with a plus on it.
see. Yeah, I see the present button. I don't know which one it would be. Okay. I did it last time, so I'm just like I just kind of I forgot which button it was.
Oh, wait, man, it's trial and error. You know, the first time you do things, you fail. It's like riding a bike. So,
Right.
you get
It's
better.
kind of and while I'm waiting, it's like I'm trying. Recently, I was trying to open like a jar of something. I couldn't open it, and you just have to keep on trying to do something until it finally works. And I had a soap too. I was trying to figure out how the soap works because I couldn't get it to work. And then, sure enough, keep looking, you keep fighting, and eventually it works.
Yeah,
But for this, it's just annoying. It's like I'm, I'm trying. It's part of
trust me.
patience too.
I have it. You focus on that. I'll tell you a little story. How about that? When you get it, let me know. Okay?
Oh, I think I found it anyways.
You got it?
I did.
You make sure to share entire screen. Entire screen.
Share entire screen. Yeah, I got it.
All right, click it and I'll see if I see you.
You'll see in a second. Hold on.
Okay.
All right,
Yes. Perfect.
you got it. Oh, wow. So
Yep.
if you see
Hold
this
on.
list,
It's loading. It's loading. Give it a second. It's loading on my end. I'm going to make sure it's loading on YouTube. I see it loading.
if you
I
can
just
see
see
the
it
list.
loading. But talk about it, it'll load. So talk it. It's fine.
Okay, so
I
I
see it.
am. This is a list of nakshatras. So if you look, there's 27 of them,
Mm-hmm.
and this starts at Aries and it goes all the way to Pisces. I mean,
So
I
explain
like
to
to
me,
talk.
Steve. What are the columns? You have the English name. Oh, at the top. You have the
Oh,
Devani, whatever that is. I don't know
well,
what that
those are
is.
just different ways of saying it,
Yeah.
kind of.
Okay.
But I'll start with the first one, Ashwini. We don't have to get into every single one of them, but this
You
is the very
can.
first one. It's the horse. It's the head of a horse. It's the one. It's everything that starts it off. So right now, the moon is in Ashwini. Right now, so that means the moon is at the very beginning of the whole cycle, and it represents a horse going into battle. This is where nature starts to grow and everything starts to blossom because you had a new start. It's a rejuvenation and it's an innocence. So you're at the very beginning. So that's the very first nakshatra. That's so simple. Now, and I'll do the first few. We don't have to because there's 27 of them. Barony is where you bear the burden. You it's the god of death in this nakshatra. So you have to bear the hard things in life. It's like you go out and you charge into battle in the first one, Ashwini, and this one is where you bear the burden of what you did. And then we'll say Kritika, and then maybe we'll do the final one after this, just to get a few. So Kritika is it represents like a knife or a spear, so it's very sharp, and it deals with sacrificial fire. It's like fire. You're burning impurities in your life, so you can cleanse yourself. So that it deals with fire.
And then, what is that? What Western would that be from? Would you say what Western?
Well, this is for Western. The sign itself would be. Let me think for a second. It would be in Taurus, but even though it's in Aries here, it starts off in Aries and it goes into
Taurus. Okay, that makes sense.
Western,
that makes sense here. Yeah, because Aries is about fighting, but Taurus is being like still. So you're basically saying when you take the spirits all the way through, it's stable. There's a tip where it's like harsh, like fighting, but then the rest of the spirit goes in. That makes sense.
Right. So we're right now in the final degree of Kritika. So the sun, where it is right now, May 24th would be the final degree, and then it would go into Rohini. So I'll show you. This will be like one of the last ones I do, but then I'll maybe one more after.
No, Rohini. Do many.
Okay, well, Rohini deals with the creation process. It literally is the middle of Taurus when it comes to Vedic, and Brahma is a deity, the creator. See what I said? The creator of the entire universe. So when you think of creation, think of Rohini, the middle of Taurus. And what follows is the deer. This is where your moon is, John.
Yep, that's my moon. So again, what's funny is that my moon is in Gemini in Western. Now, I have to understand that it's saying the same story, but in a different way. A person's chart in Western is the same as in Vedic, but again, it's displayed differently, so to speak.
Yeah, well, this is like the deer's head. It deals with Soma. So the deity is literally Soma, and it means to enjoy life, enjoy the best things in life. It's like imagine a deer running off and enjoying itself, but it also presents a danger because deers can get hunted. So the next one's kind of like it's more harsh. This is harsher because it deals with the Rudra, destruction. So when you're dealing with destruction, you're dealing with an entity that can be obviously it's harsh. Like I said, the symbol is a teardrop because there's a flood. If there's an entire flood that destroys a city, it also deals with anger because this deity got so mad that the creation happened that it just destroyed everything because it saw all the unfairness in life. And it was like, this is too unfair. I need to destroy everything because this creation was out of a fraud. It was out of fraud. We don't need it. And then I'll do one more. How about I do the first 9? Because that's the first.
Actually, wait, Stephen, go to the Vishakta. That's what I'm saying. Number 16. Go to number 16.
Sure, I was going to go to the first 9 first, really quickly.
Okay. That's
Punarvasu is the return of the light. This is where my ascendant is. It's just return to the light. It's Gemini going in Cancer because it 20 degrees Gemini to Cancer. It's the mother deity.
Go to the light. Interesting.
And then you have Pushya. This is the nurturer, the cow's udder, where you just want to enjoy. Well, you want to nurture yourself. The middle of Cancer. So
and of course that would be right in the middle of Cancer season, and that makes sense for nurturing. That's like what the milk Cancer is like.
Yeah, and then this is the last one I'll do for the first third.
Oh, Steve, slow down. Take your time. It's good.
It's very simple. I know that. This is the serpent. It's actually, this is where my sun is. It can be very volatile because it's where you get intertwined in everything. It's like a mother's love for its kid. You get intertwined in the life, and you got to be careful because you don't want to, intertwine yourself with energies that are impure. You want to make sure that there's a sense of integrity and a true love and devotion to whatever you're intertwining yourself with. It's like a snake. So that's Mercury. Mercury rules it because it deals with the mind. So, and then I want to say Maga too because this deals with royalty. It's the royal throne. It
So that's
starts
Leo.
Leo.
For all those out there, that's like basically beginning of Leo.
Yes, and it deals with the ancestors called Petries. So, but Vishaka is the one you wanted to do because like that's really interesting.
Yes.
Well, that's a triumphal arch. So you're combining Libra and Scorpio. So you have a lot of social energy where you want to connect and feel harmony, and then it translates in, or it goes right into Scorpio where you want to have a deeper commitment. It's an arch.
Yep.
But where I have it, mine, this is where your Venus is. It's right before that is Swati. It deals with breath and wind. Because this is where you want to be independent and being able to breathe in fresh air.
That's freedom, independence. Yes, freedom.
Look at a strong desire for independence, ability to bend
and it's
the
ruled by
wind.
Rahu, the North Node, which is very interesting.
Yeah, it's very determined. It's determined to be independent.
Yes.
It's these are all energies, and every single day the moon goes into a new nakshatra. It moves 13 degrees. One really volatile one is Mula. I wanted to talk about this one. It deals with the roots. This one is all about it's more destruction, kind of like Ardra, but this one deals more with the underworld and Pluto, the roots. It's like uprooting, like the root chakra. Symbolized a tied bunch of roots, Mula Nakshatra is a philosophical nature, enjoys the depths of any subject. And then maybe I'll end it with this one. Revati is the end of the end. It's where you're led home.
And this is like Pisces that rules fish, which is the same thing as Pisces. Interesting. This is where someone literally goes off the chart. This is where the chart ends. Someone goes off the chart and enters the next realm or whatever.
But what's really interesting is this would actually be Aries in Western. Like that's why you should know Vedic too, because Revati obviously it represents Pisces, but if you're only looking at it from Western, you'll never know it and you'll think it's Aries. I mean, I like both personally, but I think that the Vedic can show you more specific predictions. You can get more precise with it. So Revati, those are all the nakshatras. There's 27 of them, and obviously they fit within the 12 signs. So I just kind of wanted to share that a bit.
Let's see if let's see if anyone's actually interested, because I'm going to see. No one is online, which is fine. I'm fine with that. I'm not mad. I'm fine with that.
Well, they can see the rerun of it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So now I think this would be a good time to me to transition you, Steve. I want to go with astrocartography. Now I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna do my chart first, and then I'm gonna do yours. Okay.
Okay.
Right.
Astrocartography.
I want to try this. This is wild. You're gonna be blown away, Steve, when you see it. All right.
I'm excited. I'm actually looking forward to this.
This is for anyone in the whole world, by the way, too. That makes it crazy. Okay, so anywhere in the whole world, like you can kind of see. So let me get to this. Okay, so I was born, and then I want to do for you. I want to do it for you next too, because I want to see yours. All right, it's wild. It's really, really wild. All right, so let me get this right now. So November 26, 1996. All right, let's see. 1996, 10:19 a.m. For all those who are interested in knowing about me, there you have my information. Good luck finding me. Okay, so Chicago, Illinois, all planets. Okay, so you're gonna have to look a bit. You have to look. I'm gonna try to zoom into the best of my ability, but let's see if it'll work.
Okay. After this, I want to change the subject from astrology, but I want to hear
yours. Sure. All right, so let me quickly just show you a couple of things. Can you guys see my screen? Oh. Can you see my mouse, Steve?
Now I'm going to. Now I see it. Yes.
Okay. Now, Chicago and Wisconsin right here. There's this red line right here. If you follow it, it goes to Jupiter. So pretty much when I'm in the Midwest around Chicago, particularly around Madison, but a little bit around Chicago, if you're close to it, That basically means my Jupiter's on my line, meaning it's very easy for me to grow. And like expand. It might be good for success, like if I wanted to have a career or financial success, whatever. Now, if you look over here, if you go closer towards Boston, you see it. Look at this right here. I'm literally right northeast of the B, right next to what is it? The Pluto and the Sun.
Wow.
And what's wild is that I'm changing into a different person. Meaning it's funny is that Pluto will come before the Sun. So when I transform into a different person, I achieve the financial success and I achieve like people can see me, but I have to transform first. So if a person were to move to Boston, that would basically mean someone who is like destined to transform and then basically have their own sun as well too.
It's funny because it goes right through Boston. There's
Yeah.
nowhere else except Boston.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to say Chicago. Go back to Chicago real quick. Chicago was
Jupiter.
Wow.
If you have this red line over here, this red line goes all the way to Jupiter, and then it goes all the way here.
I feel like you may have been more goofy in Chicago, but then you move, you become more serious when you.
Yeah, Pluto, Sun. Sun is again. That's like out there. I'm much more outgoing. You know. Now, if I were to go to, let's say, to California, what would I have? I would have Mercury, and depending on where I was, if I was like in San Francisco, Mercury, communication. What's down there? Silicon Valley, tech. I would be probably a salesman. I'd be into computers and stuff. Of course, Mercury would be there. And then with the moon, again, I'd probably spend a lot more time like programming, working. So if I were to move into like California, I would be someone probably like a guy who like speaks out a lot, but also is kind of like, Gemini. Like my moon is showing out to that area. Interesting. Yeah. That's really wild.
It is interesting.
Now let's see. If I were to move to England, same thing. I basically have Mercury and Pluto and Sun. Interesting. So if I were to move to like Europe, I'd be a very serious person. I'd be kind of like how I'm in Boston. Very, very interesting. And then with Uranus, if I move to Ireland, that'd be such a weird thing. I'd be so bizarre if I was in Ireland. Okay, now let's do yours and we'll change subject because I want to see what you have. All right, Steve?
Let's just see mine real quick. Yeah.
All right. So August 10th, 1997.
97, yeah.
Okay. And you were born at what time? 3:27
a.m. I want to say one more time. I want, before you go, I want to say I apologize for earlier because I tried to control the situation and I thought that you had to move it an hour ahead and I got impatient. I was a control freak.
Hey, you're fine. You're fine. You're fine. You're fine. Listen, just remember that you have to understand that time does not exist. Okay, you don't. It's crazy.
I try to control it so much. I know.
Yeah, but you're fine. You're fine. But now you got the right thing because you would have been off anyway. All right, now let's see what's going on with you. Ready? Let's see. Okay, here we go. Really well. Okay. All right. So
Chicago doesn't look like there's anything. I'll be honest.
Yeah. Well, that's the point. There's not really much going on.
That's why I'm so bored. There's nothing going on. That's why I like. It's like insanely boring.
Well, no, actually, no. If you look at this right here. So Venus is not really. You have the Venus
Omaha.
line.
Look at Omaha, Nebraska.
Yeah, it's right between the Venus and Mercury, and that makes sense.
I was in Omaha too.
Yeah.
It was more interesting when I was there. I felt like I was more on my purpose when I was in Omaha.
Yes, and that's also when you had more friends. You actually met tons of people. You actually met
I could
Scott.
Go out. It was easier to go out and do things.
Yes, and also you also had Venus. You were close to Venus, which you were drugs. So in Mercury and Venus, that's kind of like when you were with Scott. You were into the drug. You were doing a lot of stuff and just hanging out with your friends. That makes complete sense. You were right in the middle, Steve. So you were closer to Venus. You were focusing on your pleasures, but you also
it was more like weed and
Yeah. Okay. So let's go with more. If you were to move out to California, wow, you would really blow up. Like you were saying, Steve, if you joined the NBA and you went out to California, you would be like LeBron James. It would miss you, but if you get close to it, yeah, you'd probably be like.
If I played for the Sacramento Kings or for the Lakers or the Warriors, that would be something. Or the Clippers.
Very, very interesting. So you would definitely blow up. Like you would definitely with that. Now you don't even have to be techie. You with the sun over the Jupiter right there, sun and Jupiter, your sun would that's good because the sun would mean that, your presence, but Jupiter behind it meant that your presence would then follow growth. So whatever you did, then people would expand upon it. Also, so that's pretty much what it is.
I'm kind of curious about
Very, very
Boston though.
Now with
That's
Boston on the East Coast, okay, so it depends on where you are. If you're more towards like New England, what is that? That's the green line is, I can't really tell. Let me see. That is, I can't really tell on.
Is that Venus?
No, let's see. Hold on.
Green line.
I think. Hold on. It's hard to figure it out at times.
Wait, hold on.
See,
Let me try to
Venus.
look at.
I think it is. Well,
Let me try
look.
to look at it myself
All right,
because I
Charlie,
want
let's
to.
look at it. Fine.
Let's look at this
Well,
line. So there's the green line. It goes to the green because it doesn't really point to a reference. That's the problem.
no, it
Maybe if
doesn't.
you go down.
You have. We do have Saturn.
Saturn.
Look at that black line of Saturn. You'd be restricted.
Wow.
You'd be restricted.
The MC, that's actually the midheaven.
Yeah.
That's not Saturn. Well, that's Saturn and it's the midheaven too.
Yeah,
Right?
see what I'm saying? Look,
MC.
again, on the East Coast, you would have Jupiter over your midheaven, and then the IC is what? IC is, I don't know what that is, but midheaven would be Jupiter. But if you're on the East Coast, it would be Saturn, a very Saturnian.
The IC is the opposite. It's the opposite of the midheaven. So.
Okay, so that makes sense. So, but you'd be very, very strict. You'd tend to have very. I mean, not really. If you're on the line, yes, but I just think that if you move to the East Coast, your life would be a lot more strict, so to speak. Now,
which could be good, especially if you enter a Saturn dasha. You go through different periods in Vedic where you have different planets rule over your chart.
Yeah.
So if I enter Saturn, that would be good.
I want to see. I want to see. I need to.
Long-term goals. Think about it. Saturn's long-term goals.
I would say, Steve, you shouldn't move out to Boston in like early 2000s until you move because, you have Saturn and Capricorn a lot. So it goes here. I don't know what that is, though. Let me look this up real quick. Let's see. I think it's the planet of... Oh, I got you. I understand it now. I got you. So I think that... Oh, what the fuck is it? What the fuck is it? What the heck is it? Okay. I think it might be. It's not Pisces. Oh, that's what it is. Right here. There it is. I found it here. So the first one, I see, Steve. I got it now. I figured out what it is. So the first blue sign is the moon. Second one is Pluto. The third one above, I think it's Neptune. Yeah, it's Neptune. So that's Neptune. So you basically would have Neptune and then Venus, because the first green line is Mercury. Sorry. Neptune and Mercury, because you see it goes up. So the bottom one is the moon. Second one, the highest one is Neptune. You see how it's blue in Neptune. And then you have two green lines. You have Uranus. So you have Uranus. So very, very interesting, Steve. If you were on the East Coast, you would have Saturn, you would have Uranus influence, and you would have Neptune. Very, very.
I mean, that's unpredictable, but it's also structured. Like,
yeah.
Here's what I would think of that: long-term goals where anything can happen if I just set my mind.
Yeah, and then also to say the spiritual element, it's kind of a miss because it's kind of far. It's on the outside of it, really. Neptune's not anywhere really near you. If you were maybe in downtown Boston, sure, but if you were on like the East Coast, if you were going to my area right here, you would definitely feel the Uranus. That Uranus Saturn, whew, that is crazy. Well, so, like you said, long-term goals, but like you don't know what the fuck will happen. That is so interesting.
Well, it is. And I want to say also, when you look, my ascendant is really interesting to me because when you have an ascendant in Cancer, you can't really do much. If I moved out west, it would move it to Gemini. Yeah. Which is even, well, here's the thing too. I look at, you want to look at West Vedic too, but for the nakshatras. I'll say this. When you have a nakshatra, you want to know the energy of that nakshatra, like I just showed you a few minutes ago. It can make things confusing because there are people who just focus on Western, and then you have those on Vedic. They kind of, sometimes it can get confusing because they're so different. But I'm a Gemini. If you look at Vedic astrology, I am a Gemini ascendant. That means, well, it's at the end, so it bridges Gemini and Cancer. The nakshatra, though, is Punarvasu, which means return of the light. That's still, even though it's in Gemini, that nakshatra rules just nurturing. It's more about, it's literally a feminine nakshatra because it deals with the mother deity. That means you're just you're not doing much. You're sitting around and feeling good. It's all about nurturing and feeling good. Return of the light. So you're not out there being active. When I was in Omaha, Nebraska, it had to have been the one before that, which deals with Ardra, the storm. So if you do a relocation chart, your energy will change when it comes to that. Things were, when I was in Omaha.
I'm going to be honest with you, Steve. I'm just going to say, I want to say that too. But I honestly think either coast would be great for you. Because if you look at this right here, if you go out west, no matter where you are on the West Coast, you're going to have the sun Jupiter, meaning if you were to somehow get in a major league with like baseball, basketball, or running or whatever, or if you were to get in the league with like influencing, you would blow up for sure. You'd be one of those influencers who made like a lot of just blow up. Now, if you something else?
I want to say, because I know there's people in California who they're very much into the whole health movement. They are making restaurants with seed oil free options, and they're really making progress. Where I'm at now, it's not as big, especially I'm in the outskirts of a big city, so there's not a ton going on. And
but I'm just saying, if you were to go on the East Coast, if you were to come to like my area, because I'm above it, you would definitely probably be innovative. You definitely probably be more kind of into, again, innovation in the center. Like if you were like, you'd be probably every day, you'd like go on do a live. You maybe like do health and nutrition. You'd be really, really interesting. I find Saturn conjunct Uranus people very, very fascinating. And then you have Mars. You also have Mars in the background too. Remember Mars. So you'd be kind of like active, meaning you wouldn't necessarily be sitting around a lot. You'd be like actually out there doing things. You'd actually be taking action. It's really interesting.
You know, one thing all I'm saying though is, if you know the nakshatra, I think nakshatras are more important than the sign themselves. That's my point, because
I agree. See, I agree.
Nakshatra the energy. If you just say Cancer, that's a blanket term, because it could be both. It could be Gemini for Vedic, or it could be Cancer for Western.
And not even that. You also have padas. Padas are like houses on steroids, because padas, you have like a house within a house.
That's even deeper. Before padas, though, you got to know the nakshatras, because if you try to go deeper without even knowing the foundation, you're not gonna get anywhere.
So just to clarify, everybody who doesn't know, just and in Western you have houses. Houses are basically like a sign atop a sign. Like for instance, you have the first house, which rules how people appearance. You know, that's Aries. Second house, Taurus, that's material pleasures. Third house, Gemini. Fourth house, Cancer. It's basically that. So take it what you will. Now Vedic has padas, which are three. So you have a house, then a house, then a house. If you want to be very, very specific and find out who you are, padas, I think, are an amazing feature. Totally. Would you like to maybe show your padas, Steve, just to make things more interesting?
My padas, I mean, well, let me just explain. I don't need to show it really. I mean, because I don't look into padas as much, but
okay.
There's 4 different padas within each nakshatra. So you have to know. I mean, I don't even know exactly what each one means. I just know there's a beginning, and then once you get to the end of a nakshatra, you're more experienced in that. But what I was trying to do before even getting to padas was just describe the energies of the nakshatras themselves.
I hear you.
Oh yeah. So they predicted the financial market using astrology, time cycle analysis, and ancient mathematics. So he's saying it's a suggestion. Yeah. Wilbur Delbert.
Well, no, okay. Well, let's go to our own interpretation, Steve. Okay, right now in Vedic, why don't you is there a way to bring up like a daily chart?
A daily chart of Vedic. Let me see if I can get you that. I probably can, yeah.
Because I want to look in Vedic, and then I want you to make a chart for 2030. Because 2030 is that's a metal year. The last time we had a metal year, what happened in 2020? You had the inklings of the pathogen that infected the whole world. I'm not going to say it because I don't
Well,
want to get you
metal.
shadow banned.
2030 is a metal year. It'll be the metal dog.
Yes.
We didn't even get into Chinese astrology.
Sure, yeah. We got to get that too. But I want you to bring up 2 charts in Vedic, and the other 2 then in West, we compare it. Do a chart for today, and then do a chart. Bring up the chart for, I don't know, like a day in like March 23rd, 2030. Do that, Steve.
All right. Well, look, as I'm doing that, I want to explain something. I was trying to say, so your ascendant, you should know what your if you're going to really look into astrology, you should know what your the nakshatra of your ascendant and moon sign and pretty much all your planets, if you really want to know what it is, because it shows the energy. You can't deny the nakshatras because it's so simple and it's so helpful.
Yeah, for sure.
And what I'm just saying is, when I go to Nebraska and it's 1 backwards, my next Ardra, where it was in Nebraska, is it's more about volatility. It's destruction. In Western, it's going to be Cancer. But my point is, when I was in Nebraska, there was a lot more chaos and action going on. Whereas when I'm here, sometimes I feel like I'm playing like a lesser role. Like I'm kind of in the background. Like I'm not out in the spotlight as much.
Hey, by the way, there's a guy who loves you live. So sweet. You're doing really good.
Yeah, let's see.
So let's go on. All right, so pull up a chart for today, and then I want you to interpret the chart like a person, and then do it for 2030, and you'll see exactly.
All right, I'm gonna share my screen then. Okay.
People have said a lot of interesting things because 2030 supposedly is a lot of conspiracy theorists. You've known them. Yeah. Bald Dr. Evil Jr. says you shall eat bugs and you will own nothing and be happy on this day. So that's why we're doing that. Interesting.
Well, look, let me know if you can see this chart right here.
Yeah.
Let me know, because
I don't see anything yet.
Yeah, maybe. I think you should be able to see it soon. Because I'm showing a chart, and pretty much what it says is the moon. For right today, I'm showing you what this.
All right, now help us interpret that, because a lot of people just see a bunch of squares and parallelograms and stuff, and
yeah. So Virgo is where the ascendant is right now. I mean, we don't have to look at the ascendant. The sun is in Taurus, Critica. Yeah. I told you, the sun is going through Critica right now. It's Taurus.
Got it.
It's like before you want to talk about padas, it's the end of Critica. So you have 4 padas for each nakshatra. We're at the end of Critica, so we're at the very end.
Right.
And it's going to go right into Rohini tomorrow.
Okay.
The moon is in Ashwini, like I said. The moon has started a brand new cycle. It's in the 3rd pada, and it's the very first nakshatra. Mars going through Cancer. That kind of reminds me of taking it easy more. But if you're going to go into Western, this is where kind of you got to be careful, because in Western, Mars is in Leo. But right here, it's in Ashlesha nakshatra, which is the end of Cancer.
I mean, do more of the outer planets. Do more of the outer planets. Do more of Jupiter and Saturn and Rahu and Ketu, because those are the major ones that people like for predictions.
Well, I'm going to focus more on the nakshatra rather than the sign. So
yeah, that's fine. Let's do the nakshatras for Jupiter, Saturn, and Rahu and Ketu.
Mrigashira is the deer, so that's where Jupiter is.
Okay.
This is the one that bridges Taurus and Gemini.
So that means right now people are. It's very much like you said. It's very much upward. People are a lot of activities going with my moon. It's similar to my moon. It's very very not optimistic, but very fluid in activity. That's where that's when animals begin to come out of the trees. Like at the beginning of spring, and animals have to come out of their holes and start going on direct people. That's what it is.
Well, yeah, it's a very bright time because you're in the spring you know,
Yeah.
and the thing about the seasons, that I think seasons are more helpful for Western because right in Western astrology, when Aries hits is the spring equinox.
And
For
that's funny
Libra,
too.
it's the
So
fall.
to answer Kyle's question about the financial markets in Western right now, Jupiter is at the end. I think it's at the end of Gemini, and it's going into Cancer. So, I would say that this again, the stock market's going to go up. It's going to keep going up for a while. When Jupiter in Western, when it goes into Cancer, that's when you're going to see a lot of more conservatism coming because Cancer is very protective. It's nurturing. For the past year, it's been about conspiracies. Jupiter Gemini is interesting. There's dualities. Look at all these dualities we see in the world. It's crazy. All these, you see Donald Trump in South Africa, Israel, all this others it's like Gemini. It's both good and bad and everything like that. When Jupiter goes into Cancer, I think you might see rumblings of the housing market crash. Not in America. Because I don't know if loans will they kind of mature on their bonds next year. So you may not see a crash, but home improvements. That's what I would say. But I think it'll be very interesting to see when Jupiter goes into Leo next year. I believe that's when you're going to see, especially with Saturn and Aries. I'm telling you, if there's any time for a major crisis, it's when all the planets are in all of outer signs. But anyway, I'm gonna let Steve take
Okay,
over from here.
well, the nakshatra is really interesting. So Mrigashira, like I said, it's the deer. That's where Jupiter is, and then it's going to go through right after Mrigashira. Like I said, what comes after the deer? The hunter. So you got to be careful with Mrigashira because when the deer's out having fun, just running around, someone's going to want to hunt the deer, and that's where the destruction comes in Ardra. It's a teardrop. That means, in the sixth nakshatra, right after Mrigashira, they're going to want to destroy this life because that's what happens. What did I say? Rohini is the creation. So the whole mythological story of the nakshatra is where Ardra comes and wants to. It sees the fraudulent nature of how the creation happened. It said, "This isn't fair. You weren't allowed to create this. I need to destroy it." So it creates a flood, and the symbol's a teardrop. You got to be careful. Like some of these nakshatras, it just helps to know the energy. Because
Yeah,
I can't tell you how many times the moon went through Ardra, and I felt the darkness. I felt like there was a harsh energy. But if it's right after that's return of the light, because what happens right after a flood? It dries up, and there's the light that returns after the storm. And right when that happens, the vibe turns more peaceful. It's more fun and loving. So that's what happens, in these signs. So just be careful of that because Jupiter's in Mrigashira now. That's the deer where it runs off. Venus is in Revati. So Venus is at the end of the end. We have a lot of Pisces. Like Saturn's also in Pisces too. And, it deals with the end of the end. So when it comes to Revati, you're being led back home. It's kind of like the shepherd. That's what it is as well. And Rahu and Ketu, let me tell you something about Rahu. That's where you want to go after things in life. Like it's brand new. It's kind of where you're obsessed with what you're obsessed with. It's what you want you're more interested in. Whereas Ketu, you already mastered it. You're a complete
interesting.
master of it, and it doesn't interest you because you already learned it. It's also the south node and western, and Rahu would be the north node. So it goes backwards. So it's in Aquarius, and it's going to go backwards. It was just in Pisces, now it's in Aquarius, and Ketu is now in Leo. I mean, I urge you to look into Vedic because the signs itself is more accurate than Western because Western just projects it, whereas Vedic it's where the actual fixed stars are, the positions. That's why
Yes.
I don't like just throwing random information out there. Like the seasons I get, like I said, the summer equinox or the summer solstice is on June 21st, and that is exactly when you enter Cancer in Western, and you enter Capricorn in the winter solstice. But what they don't tell you is Mula Nakshatra is December 21st. That is where you pull up from the roots. And you destroy anything that's, well, it's kind of, it also deals with destruction, but it deals with the roots. So that's
Uh,
Mula. But yeah, I'm just showing you these nakshatras and where the energies are on the moon, and you know.
I find it very, very fascinating. I really, really do, Steve. It's really good. Now do it for 2030. Let's do it for 2030. Let's see where the outer planets are in 2030. I would say the why not the like I said, March 23rd.
March 23rd. I mean, I'm gonna have to calculate it, but I mean, look, for that, I think knowing the outer planets is more helpful for going way out there. Because Vedic doesn't deal with as much of the distant future. It kind of deals with the present and what's going on. Like, well, that's what I'm saying. But I don't know. It just seems like when you want to look way out into the future, that's kind of where you want to use outer planets. Like Vedic doesn't use outer planets.
Yeah, it does use Jupiter and Saturn.
I know that, but it was like a Western concept to start.
I got you. All right, well that's
Like
fine.
the
Yeah,
charts don't show.
I guess like the only reason you do that is say, how about in 4 years, I'm supposed to be having a big major conference on this date at this time. Then you would use it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but the charts for
like,
Vedic don't show Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. They just show
no,
what the
no,
future-
not even that. Like you said, they're more specific for times. Like if I in like in the next year, if I had a major business event that I had to present or whatever, and I wanted to know what it would be like, I would do that.
Well, yeah. I want to say something else about because you mentioned that in Western you're a Capricorn ascendant, but
Yep.
in Vedic, I want to say this.
Sure.
Where you moved, if you were to just look at Vedic and not Western, you would have gone from Sagittarius in Chicago to Capricorn out in Boston. So that means I kind of can see it because you're more Saturnian focused now. Now it
Absolutely.
seems like you actually have a purpose. Like you're actually
Yeah.
you're
But
where
my
you
ascendant
need to be.
Aquarius trining my North Node, that's seriousness too. It's the same story. I'm very serious. I'm very serious, and I'm on a mission, and I'm a lot more like real and genuine. I'm not necessarily like in the Midwest again. Like, here's the thing, Steve. The problem with Wisconsin is that they're very kind of like, oh, sorry, sorry, guys. Oh, yeah, we're very friendly and joyful, and I just think that with my South Node in Aries and Western, what's my South Node? It's in Pisces in Vedic, right? With my yeah, I don't know the exact nakshatra, but I know that's it. That it makes it. I don't need to be all like nice. I need to be more serious and be more real. Like Virgo's critical.
I can tell you where your K2 is. It's in Uttara Bhadrapada. That's the depth of Pisces. That's where you fully integrate your full release and acceptance of the universe, and you let go. But then comes Revati, where you completely surrender. But Uttara Bhadrapada, it's the result. It's the final result. It's where you integrate that universal concept of
for sure.
dissolving the ego. So that's your K2, and you have a conjunct Saturn. So you've mastered in wherever. I would say that kind of represents you've already mastered what you need to do at a deeper level.
I have. Interesting.
Saturn, you always give me good advice when it comes to the Saturnian concepts. You always tell me this is what you need to do, Stephen Lee.
Interesting.
Long-term goals. You're very responsible too. It's like you want to create a foundation and a family unit, and that's kind of more Saturn. It's taking things more serious.
Hold on. I hate to say this. I want to ask. One of the guys asked. So here's the thing about AI. Oh, how will we be with these artificial intelligence? Okay, this guy Kyle asked a question, Steve, and I'm going to answer him. Okay.
Yeah.
So Kyle, you have to understand something, and I'm going to bring up a chart. I'm going to share my screen if that's okay with you. Bring up the question, Steve. The last one that he had. Change the question to the bottom, saying how will be with artificial intelligence and stuff. I'm going to say that to you, right?
You want me to show it?
Yeah, show it at the top so that people can see his question.
Well, now I see it, yeah.
Okay, so you have to understand something. All right. Pluto, you have to understand what Pluto is in astrology. All right. Pluto in astrology, meaning it represents power structures. It represents death, transformation, and everything. So when you have my Pluto's in Capricorn, so in Sagittarius. So when I approach change, I'm very optimistic, and I just keep going. Okay. So if you get that Pluto, think of it as just that's like the power. It's like who the exposure and collapse of structures, but depending on the sign. All right. That's the first thing you have to understand. So Pluto in Capricorn from around 2008 to 2024 was pretty much when the big banks won. What happened in 2008? Do you know that year? What happened in the U.S.?
Let me see this.
Sure.
I'm gonna bring. I'm always gonna bring in the next chakras, but I know there was the banking crisis.
Yes. So you had the housing market crash right when Pluto went into Capricorn. Boom, it happened. And when Pluto went into Aquarius in 2023, it kind of went back and forth. AI came out. That's what got ChatGPT. Usually at the 0 degree, things happen. So you had
there's
so
also but that's where I gotta get confused because in my mind I'm thinking in Vedic it's not like that. It's because it's a whole.
No, I know. I'm answering Kyle's question. He was asking with AI and stuff. He was asking about that stuff.
I know. I want to bring in the next chapters when Pluto. Another thing I want to say in 2020, Pluto in Vedic entered Capricorn, and that's when there was a whole new
yes
confinement. There was a whole new structure that was put into place in 2020.
Yes.
This is why I'm like saying I like to bring in Vedic too because I don't hear it as much.
So this guy's asking about the AI, like how's artificial intelligence technology, and also about the money market as well too. I'm just trying to answer. So, see, feel free to chime in. I want you to chime in Vedic, right? For chiming in Vedic.
Let me say it now. So
Sure.
2020, like I said, Pluto just entered Capricorn, but there's all these nakshatras. What I'd say, Uttara Ashada, that's where Pluto went through during that time. And, I'm actually going to show you.
Sure. Do you want to stop sharing my screen?
Yeah, I did. Oh.
I'm sharing my screen.
I'm going to add mine real quick. Yeah. So, look, if I can even find this for a second. I don't know. I don't even think I can. But the point is, it's Uttara Ashada. And I have no idea how it won't even let me go back there. But if I go to here it is, nakshatra list. This is where Pluto went through in 2020. It's called Uttara Ashada, and it deals with the elephant tusk. This is where, John, where if you plant a seed, you work towards it. Like you nurture the seed in Purva Ashada. Uttara literally means later, and Purva means before. So Purva came before this. You nurture the seed. Then comes you put in the work. Elephant tusk is Vishvadevas. That means it's like everything you got to do to make things happen. If you have a goal, later victory, well mannered, and they face difficulties not just in marriage, but one thing I realized is it's about putting in the work. So that's where Pluto went through in 2008. If you look, or no, 2020. In 2008, it was different. It was in Moolah. Do I have to go back to Moolah, John? Remember, you just mentioned something about you just mentioned about 2008, the Pluto going to Capricorn. This is where it was because I like to bring in the nakshatras. What does this tell you? There's a destructive quality to the uprooting. So there was a whole uprooting happening. So you're going to see the effects of Pluto passing through this energy. Destruction, dissolution. The deity is called Niridi, but it's also Kali because it depicts. Here's what it depicts. I'm just gonna take this off now and remove it and get back to here. So, what it depicts, John, is this deity stomping over someone like on the roots. Like imagine on the ground and you're just stomping on them and pretty much destroying them. That's what Mula depicts. That's what
Yes.
Pluto went through in 2008.
And when did it change signs from 2008 to what?
It had to have been a few years after that. I would say about 2010, 2011,
Okay.
because
Gotcha.
I'm not like an encyclopedia, but
no, but give or take.
yeah, it was there certainly in 2008, and it was probably a couple of years after.
I want to go back to 2020. Kyle, you're going to be blown away by this, by the way, in Western. Okay, you're going to be blown away. All right, listen to this. So in 2020, you had a Uranus, Pluto, and Jupiter. Okay, conjunction. Now, what does a conjunction mean? A conjunction is when two planets basically go on top of each other. These three planets, Pluto, Jupiter. Wait, what was it? It was Jupiter. Wait, no, it was Jupiter, Pluto conjunction. Pluto, Jupiter, Pluto, Saturn conjunction. Right, Saturn
This
conjunction.
was 2020, right?
Yes. So it's like you were saying with Steve, the beginning of a new entire thing. So when you have a Jupiter-Saturn conjunction, what that means is that you have a whole new world that begins to give birth. Now, it takes time for the outer planets to emerge. So what that basically meant is that you have Pluto, the power, you have Saturn, the structures. And then you have Jupiter. Then that was when you had the elites push their agenda, and that's when a new thing began to emerge. The last time this happened was when? What year? Watch this. Jupiter, Pluto, Saturn conjunction. I believe it wasn't like in Middle Ages. By
the way, how much longer do you want to keep this going? Maybe like 15 minutes or something?
Yeah, why not? Yeah. 12. So that happened in 1226, I believe. And in 1220, in the 1200s, you had the story of the Knights Templar. The Knights Templar were basically a group of bankers who went out to the Middle East, made a lot of money, and then came back once the Holy Wars ended. I'm actually going to stop sharing my screen because at this point,
we didn't even get into Chinese, by the way.
We're going to, yeah, we can do that too. So when they came back, they brought all this wealth and all this knowledge of banking to the point where the church got unrivaled. What happened? The church killed the entire Knights Templar in Friday the 13th. And that's when, they were taken out. Now, 2020, think about what happened with all the censorship. You had the BLM riots. You had the pathogen in 2020. That literally look what happened to all the free speech. It got evaporated. And that was what happened. You had a secret transfer, because Pluto means hidden, transfer of power, Capricorn meaning government. And so that's kind of what happened. Now just end things on so we can go to Chinese and Vedic and wrap things up. What's happening now is Pluto, representing power, has moved into Aquarius. And that means that the power is going to be going to the people. That means that the script is going to go off the edges. There's an old quote from Of Mice and Men, even the best laid plans fail. And this is when all the laid plans from 2008 until now are going to start to fall apart and implode. You can kind of see it with Donald Trump. I don't trust Donald. I'm neutral. But look at all the stuff he's doing. It's like, what was that? Wait, Israel? I thought we were on Team Israel. I thought China was cool. Why is China imploding? I thought there was a war going. Like it's going off script, and it's basically you're gonna see like all the subliminal brainwashing, all the subliminal programming is gonna go off the rails, and people are gonna lose power and new structure. I believe in this time too. You're gonna see the push for globalism and also people making more off the good communities. But Aquarius is both the innovator and also conformists. So people are going to make new communities. I believe there will be digital blockchain technologies. I think AI is going to definitely take off. And I think it's going to be a very interesting time to be alive. All right.
Well, what I can add is nakshatras, because people like to just look at the signs. But what I don't like is they can cause a lot of confusion, because if someone's only looking at Vedic, they're going to say Pluto's in Capricorn until 2039. So what I'm going to say is, if you look at it from that perspective, Pluto right now, if you notice, there's still a lot of slavery. There's still a lot of old structures intact. what this is right now, from what I've interpreted, is this is the end, the destruction of the structures that have been existing, because
Yeah,
Pluto brings destruction.
absolutely.
And not only that, if you just look at the energy, like I said, I'm going to keep saying it, the nakshatras, they tell a story. It's like these are deities. These are divine cosmic energies, like literally. So what I'm trying to get at is right now Pluto's in Uttara Ashada, and it's been in there since 2019, and it's not going to leave until next year. Pluto will stay in one nakshatra for 7 years. 7 years, give or take. So that tells you how slow it goes, and how much information you can get from out of one nakshatra. I told you, Uttara Ashada deals with later victory. Ever since 2019, what I've noticed is there's just been a lot of let's get to the top of this mountain. It's a 21st nakshatra. Saturn's
Yep.
21. There's a symbol for 21 with Saturn. You keep going on the mountaintop and you keep going until you can't go anymore. The next nakshatra is Shravana. This deals with vibration and frequency. It deals with making sure everything is intact. And I'm gonna. This is the final one that I'm gonna show, but I'm gonna show the nakshatra for this one right here,
Sure.
Shravana. You take a look here. 3 footprints in an ear. It's an ear because it deals with you have that hearing ability to know if the vibration is off or on. Are there good vibes or are there bad vibes? You can know. Look at the deity, Vishnu, meaning the preserver of the universe.
That's
So
so interesting.
when Pluto goes through this nakshatra for 5 or 7 years or whatever it is, it's going to be less about pushing on and being, getting that later victory, going off to work. It's going to be more about preserving. And this is the middle of Capricorn. It's
That's so
10 to 20.
wild. Oh, that's so cool. I like
This
that.
is why I kind of get a little passionate about the nakshatras, because they're so interesting and they show the energy. And
So
if you're just looking at
people are gonna. This is when people are gonna start to break away from the system and start to try to create their own one. Or
well, look,
on the other hand, let me look at this. I want to read this now. It says,
the
yeah,
moon.
exactly.
The moon is more about the ear. It's more about preserving too. If you just think about what the moon is,
So
you're going
it
more
seems,
within yourself.
it seems
People
to me as
more
if
within, going more within.
yeah. So this is when people are gonna conform and or create new structures. Very interesting.
Because the past 7 years, I would say since 2019, that's when I started working a new job. There's been a lot of just focus on work itself, like showing up, get there on time, do the work. Let's say from 2012 or 2013 until 2019, that was laying the foundation. So Purva, the right before Uttara Ashada, it was about nurturing the seed, getting prepared. So that was up until 2019. It's been like a heavy lifting since then. It's really just knowing what they mean. And this is just Pluto going through it, but you can just take a look right here. I don't have to go crazy on it, but I just wanted to show you that. And what were we saying? So to
Well, we were
wrap it
talking
up,
about like the future with Kyle, and he was basically talking about how wanting to
yeah,
know what's going on. But I think that's a very interesting thing because people will go more within, and I think that we're going to be headed towards a better thing for humanity as well too.
it will be. And by 2040, like Archaics talks about, there's a Phoenix event. I wanted to say Pluto and Vedic would go through Aquarius right then and there, and that's for Vedic, obviously. The nakshatra would be Dhanishta, which is wealth. It's all about wealth. The 23rd nakshatra. You're bridging Capricorn and Aquarius evenly. There's literally, think about the exact same degrees for Capricorn and Aquarius, and it meets right there. And if you talk about the root chakra, Saturn deals with the lower chakras, and then you go up to Mercury and the Sun. That's like your pineal gland. it's interesting to think of it that way. But we didn't
Yeah,
even. I think I explained a good amount about the nakshatras, but it
I would definitely
obviously.
say so, Steve. You've definitely done a lot. I'd love to see you, do things for people. But yeah, for sure. I gotta
But
say, Steve, this has been a really good live. I mean, I really enjoyed talking with you. I thought this was a really interesting thing. Um,
it is. I wanted to
I don't
say
really
we
know.
can
I
wrap
mean,
it up
again,
with Chinese.
yeah, we can go through China Vedic as well too. But like, I just think overall, like, it's just very, very fascinating. Right now, it is now 5:45, 4:45 your time. Do you
What
want
we
to
say?
end it, or do you want to just
No,
continue
I
on
just want to end it with Chinese a little bit because
Sure.
what's
I'll let you
interesting.
take away.
I was watching this video one time, and this guy was saying that there's a part of the sky, a zodiac that deals with the pig, and it made me think of um, Chinese because the pig is one of the signs. Chinese astrology is pretty much just 12 signs. Every single year, you move to a different sign. You have opposite signs, which some call enemies, and then you have friend signs that are more favorable. I don't, and it would be, I'm curious to how they found this. Like, people know about this information now, but how did they determine when these cycles would occur? That's what I would ask. Like, how would they know we're in the year of the dragon now? They have a specific date lined out for it.
Yeah, I hear you.
They must have been tapped into something that was different. Because
No, every society has its own spin on things. And I find it very. It's just and with China, there's a lot of good things about China, and just yeah, it's very interesting. All right, Steve. I think I'm gonna wrap it up. I think I'm gonna head out. I think it was great. If you want to stay by and talk to anything as well too, but I think we're in a very interesting time, and I'm glad that I had this talk with you. Right, Steve?
it was a good one. And like I said, to wrap it up, the next chapters when we talk about astrology, I don't like the whole confusing aspect of, this is Aquarius, this is Capricorn, because you're gonna find different ones if you find someone who looks at Western opposed to Vedic. I don't like the whole confusing aspect. I think the nakshatras really clear up some of that confusion because it's going to show you exactly what it is. It's precise. That's why I like Vedic, because it's precise. It doesn't change. The nakshatras itself do not change, but the signs do change when you're dealing with both of those systems.
I hear you. All right, Steve. I have a good one. I'm heading out, and I hope you. I have a good one. Peace out, man.
You too, man.